Hello everyone and welcome to the Warrior Nation F1 Racing League podcast. It's good to be back for our 14th episode and I'm joined as ever by Ollie. Hello Ollie.
Hello.
Have we got your full attention?
Just about.
Stop playing World of Tanks.
Probably 90%.
You're not playing World of Tanks right now, yeah?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, good. Thank you. We'll go to X-Crim next. Hello X-Crim.
Hello, bowfar. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Yes,
Great.
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
You're happy. I'm happy. I'm good. Thank you.
You just got in from work.
Yep.
Dedication.
Well, I can think of our word for it, but yes, dedication. You're right. Yep.
We'll use dedication until a better word comes up. And last but not least, we have Firesome Meal.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, it is evening. What? Early evening.
Yes, early evening.
And joining us, albeit a little bit late, but that's fine, is Stephen J. Hayes, 83. Hello, mate.
Good evening. Troublesome day at work, but I'm here in the end.
For a nice, relaxing stint on the podcast.
That's the intention.
Right, so to kick us off in this episode, here's Stephen J. Hayes with the roundup for GP1.
The Valencia Street Circuit played host to the 8th round of the Warrior Nations F1 League last Sunday. The track has been dropped from the calendar in real life, so would this be the last time the racers would fill this grid? Just like the Spanish GP earlier in the season, the rain came, but not in the same way. Qualifying saw the wet conditions this time around. Cube 623 came out best and put his Lotus on the front row, followed by Firesamil and Tuppers, although he placed 4th. Jay Hygo was more than a second off the pace, and with Shiraz 995 absent, points would be vital to all the front runners. The race saw sunshine and a clean first corner. As with all street circuits, there was bound to be some. It arrived when V3 lost control of his car out of turn 5 and hit the Mercedes of bowfar, forcing them both into the wall. The collision cost both drivers a trip to the pits to repair the damage. This put the pair at the very back of the grid. Tupper's poor run of form has turned heads up and down the paddock, and the reigning drivers' champion was looking to bounce back. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't going to start in Valencia. In a textbook presentation of how not to drive a car around a street circuit, he crashed out in spectacular fashion on lap 21 from the lead that gifted Firesamil and Cube 623 a battle of epic proportions for the remaining laps. Further down the field, controversy reigned. The grid played host to multiple battles, none fiercer than Stuart SSDD and Stephen J. Hayes 83. The pair were inseparable for the majority of the closing laps, and our favourite 3-letter word made itself known yet again: lag. Stephen J. Hayes 83 couldn't find a safe way around the Williams second driver and had a coming together on lap 21, letting a resurgent bowfar pass them both. Come the checkered flag, Cube 623 had made his way past Firesamil to take his first win of the season. Jay Hygo finished in third over 40 seconds behind the pair, while Ferrari number 1 fan and bowfar rounded out the top 5 places. So the championship standings look like this. Firesamil stays top of the table with 142 points, and Shiraz's 995's absence from Valencia means that the consistent one Jay Hygo moves into second place on 127, while Shiraz stays on 113. Tupper's DNF means he stays on 100. Cube 623's win means he closes the gap to his former teammate on 96, making it a 5-way battle for the championship crown. The next round sees the drivers head back to the birthplace of Formula 1 Silverstone. How will the drivers adjust back to circuit racing after 3 consecutive races around narrow street circuits? The only way to find out is by coming along to the next race of the Warrior Nation F1 Racing League.
So that was the rundown for GP1, and there's been developments, I guess, since that race finished. That because we have a license point system in Warrior Nation to discipline bad behaviour on track, I guess, for lack of better words. And Gaza has reached his limit, hasn't he, Ollie?
He has, yes. He's been a naughty boy. He's picked up a point in every single race, as far as I can gather.
Well, he's picked up more than 1 point in races, because we started with, it's 12 points for a race ban, which is what he's been given, and we are 8 races in, so that's more than 1 a race.
Done well, hasn't he?
He's done well.
What can you really say about that, though? I mean, lots of points have been accrued, and he's going to pay the price for it at the British Grand Prix. I think
Seems like he's busy anyway.
Well, I think he's probably planned it. Do you not think? When you go into a Grand Prix and you've got 1 point left and you're averaging I don't know how many, I suppose the writing was kind of on the wall. I brought him into the league. I think he's a feisty driver, definitely, no doubt about that. He certainly doesn't like to give away track position. I'm not sure what else you can sort of say on that. When I raced him, when I first met him on Sprint, I thought he was a very firm but fair driver, and that's why I suggested to him and brought him in. It's unfortunate, actually, he's actually a little bit faster than me, so we don't really have so many scuffles on track. We don't really usually see each other. He's usually a little further up the grid than I am. But certainly the time in Sprint, I did actually enjoy racing with him.
But speaking of GP1, I said to you I have kind of a form guide, some stats for you. So GP3 started 4 weeks ago in Spain. If GP1 season would have started in Spain, over the last 4 races, the form guide is a little bit different to the table, and it's quite interesting who's actually towards the top. So first you've got Fire Samil.
Yay.
So you've picked up your form a lot, which is, obviously good for you. And now
which was, it was meant to be. I am going to win the championship. Everyone knows this.
Only because Tappers keeps getting screwed.
Well, I mean, it would be good if he kept crashing, like he did in Valencia, or kept having connection issues. It'd be very helpful to the rest of us.
To be fair, Valencia's the only problem he's had that was his fault. The rest of them were out of his control.
And I was nearly caught in his wreckage. Nearly ended my race.
Valencia's crash was very strange. The Toppers was.
Well, it looked very different from my. I looked back at his footage, and it looked very different to what I saw on my screen when I looked behind me.
So second in the form guide. So you've scored 86 points over the last 4 races, which is a pretty hefty sum, I must say. You've done well. Second in the form is Cube, 63. He's got 60 points from the last 4 races, so a massive improvement from Cube. I think he was a bit unlucky at the start of the season as well and kept on getting crashed into and taken out and whatnot. So he's kind of found some clean air, I guess, and scored some hefty points. Third is the consistent one. Oh dear, I hate saying that, but yeah, there he is. Jay Hygo, he's third on 54 points over the last 4 races, and then fourth with 31 points is me.
I knew where this was going as soon as you started talking about it.
I'm fourth on the form list. Wow, great! Like tumbleweed, fantastic. I'd expect a little bit more, Yeah, go bowfar, woohoo!
Yeah, he's 4th.
Well done, you're the 4th best for 4 weeks. Well done.
Thank you.
That's an amazing achievement.
5th is Ferrari number 1 fan, and 6th is Tuppers. He's only scored 23 points from the last 4 races.
What a loser.
What a loser. And that's seen him drop significantly from the top of the table, I guess. 7th is Gaza, of all people. And 8th is Oxa, my teammate. So the form guide is fairly different to the actual standings at the moment. So it's one to look out for. It really does prove that consistency is key in getting some good points and getting a good position in the championship.
Thanks for your insight.
Thanks. I thought that would have gone down better, but obviously you guys aren't really into stats. I like stats. Thanks for that.
And here's bowfar with the GP2 roundup.
GP2 headed to Valencia for the European Grand Prix, bruised after the sudden exit of title contender Steve JW94. Kira's replacement coaching Panda from GP3. Could he pick up where his predecessor left off? Or will Steve's departure mean Mercedes' impressive form as of late will be nothing more than a memory? Qualifying looked to be Mr. Tan's return to the top step as he put his McLaren on pole. After not winning a race since Bahrain, could he reassert his dominance on the GP2 division? HB Snipes joined Mr. Tans on the front row, whilst Craterface popped his red ball up into third place in the absence of his teammate Danielson. When the lights went out, the cars were wheel to wheel as they went into the first chicane. Craterface gave a slight nudge to HB Snipes, and the Mercedes carried straight on into the wall. The impact left him without a front wing and in last place. HB Snipes wouldn't be the only victim on the first lap. LMG Killers saw a gap as VXP Volts ran wide into turn 4 and put his nose on the apex. Unfortunately for LMG Killers, VXP Volts and WNX Kerr on the outside of the pair, the gap wasn't big enough for a whole car and sent the drivers spinning out of control. The rest of the race was uneventful as there were no more incidents to keep the stewards talking, but HB Snipes recovered well to catch up with Mr. Tans on lap 28. The championship leader had made a couple of mistakes due to worn tyres. HB Snipes passed his rival and looked on as the McLaren lost control and span out. From then on, it was plain sailing and he took the checkered flag for the third time this season. Mr. Tans finished in second place and LMG Killers rounded out the podium places in third. So the championship standings after 8 races look like this. Mr. Tans still tops the table with 152 points. HB Snipes closes the gap to just 39 points on 113, and Sea Stealth's consistent performances keep him in third place on 98 points. LMG Killers is third, podium of the season sees him up to 97 points, just one behind Sea Stealth. Drama on and off the track surrounded the action in Valencia, but will the same thing happen when the drivers come to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix? All we do know is you'll find out everything you need to know when the lights go out in the next round of the Warrior Nations F1 Racing League.
Okay, so we've got no one here from GP2 tonight, so Bofar's going to give us a little more information about what happened in the race.
Oh,
That
yes.
sucked.
No, it was an interesting race for the first few laps. Lots of carnage. As we said last week, broke the record for being in 3 GPs, racing in 3 GPs in the same season. But he didn't score points in all of those, though, so he can't have that one either. But it was eventful for him. It was, I think I was on board with him as they went around turn 4, turn 5 chicane, and LMG Killers thought he'd stick his nose in. Into a gap that was going to decrease quite rapidly from Volts on the inside of him. So it was 3 abreast into a very tight chicane, and only Carnage was going to rear its head. And it did. And Kerr lost many, many places. I think he went straight back to last.
My heart bleeds for him.
I'm sure it does, because he was beating you, wasn't he, in GP3?
Everyone gets lucky once, you know.
Oh, he's not bitter at all.
I'm waiting for the talk of rainbows and pots of gold here.
But other than that, and what was mentioned in the roundup, HB Snipes had a very, very good race. He lost his front wing due to an incident with Craterface in the second corner, because the first corner is really non-existent, but it still counts apparently. And that put him right back in last place. But he fought his way back through, and he had some impressive pace. And I think it flustered Mr. Tans a little bit, and he was also struggling with his tyres and span out 2 laps towards the end, letting HB Snipes through. So it was a good race for him. And I think losing Steve JW94 from his team hasn't dented his racing spirit. I think he's just getting on with it and putting in some good performances, which is good to see. So you've heard about GP1 and GP2. Well, here's Ollie with the roundup for GP3.
Round 4 of the Warrior Nation GP3 League took the drivers to the monopoly-esque street circuit of Valencia. Qualifying went off without a hitch, and previous connection issues did not rear their head again, with Pro Lethal, the Sauber driver, impressing his new team with the P2 spot. Pole again went to the Reals SD, whose pace is unmatched over 1 lap. X-Cream was in third. On to race day, and most cars got through the second corner cleanly, but X-Cream got a nudge from behind, sending him straight ahead, which put him into the back of the field. The rest of the race was a fight between the Reals SD and Pro Lethal for the lead, but Zesty managed to prove this weekend that his pace converts to the race and not just over one lap, taking top spot on the podium. Pro Lethal took second, and the recovering Williams of X-Crim took the third spot. After 4 races, D'Cousia is still first in the championship. X-Crim takes second place, and the real Zesty moves into third, with maximum points from this race.
So there was a roundup for GP3, and unlike GP2, we have someone who was in the race. X-Crim, how was the race for you?
Not too bad. Well, I got head off, that runoff area at old turn 2. Somehow kept my wing and didn't get a penalty, which is obviously a bonus, and fought back well to third. I was second, a comfortable second, but Pro Lethal then, I was spun second last lap, and Pro Lethal caught me in, but he was catching me anyway, but I would have hung on if I hadn't spun. Still, third's not a bad result.
So I was watching the live feed that you were so graciously were posting, and I would say that it's quite a stretch to say that you were comfortably second. I was watching the times get smaller and smaller between you and Pro Lethal. I think you may have just edged it if you hadn't have lost your wing, but that was down to around about 1.8 seconds.
Well, sure. That's outside DRS. That's comfortable enough.
I love it. I love it.
You're just saving fuel, weren't you, X-Crim?
Of course, just chilling out, don't need to rush it,
And this week's Meet the Driver features Fire Meal,
the next World Drivers' Champion.
Hello, my name's Fasamil, that's also my gamer tag, and I'll be racing in GP1, WNX F1 League. My team is Ferrari. My first F1 related memory would probably be F1 2002 on the original PlayStation 1. I definitely remember Melbourne and Monaco. They're probably the 2 tracks I played the most on that game. I think my favourite F1 driver of all time would be Fernando Alonso. I think he just showed that he's a very compassionate driver, and he's very, very skilled. He's one of the top drivers in the world, and he proved last year that even with a car that's dreadful at the start of the season and probably was nowhere near performing the other cars, he still managed to come second in the championship by something like 3 points, which he is probably the best driver in F1 at the moment. And has been for quite a while, actually. My favourite Formula 1 moment, I guess, it kind of revolves around overtakes, and especially, I think it was Japan 2005. Fernando Alonso was my favourite driver. He passed Schumacher around the 130R corner, around the outside, top speed of over 200 miles an hour. That's probably one of my favourite overtakes. So I can't really pinpoint one of my exact favourite moments. I believe Shiraz will win the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship. Yeah, he has a very good chance. I didn't really see him last year, but apparently he was quite fast and he was keeping up with toughest in the championship, and then he dropped off towards the end. But seeing his form so far already this season, I do believe he is one for the contending for the World Drivers' Championship.
Right, so it's the time of the podcast now where we look ahead to the next race, and it's the home of Formula 1. It's the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, where the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix was held. I'll open it up to the floor. What do you think of the new layout of the track, first of all, and then secondly, your chances? Let's go X-Crim.
I actually prefer the new layout to the old one. I like the last chicane going and good overtaking move if possible, towards the end of the lap. For me, well, I would say if it came fourth, I'd be happy. I reckon Zesty, the real Zesty, Pro Lethal, and Fuji, I reckon they'll all beat me comfortably on that track, but if we get fourth, I'll be happy with that.
What about yourself, Samuel?
Well, I do believe the new layout of the track is fantastic, and I do enjoy driving around it occasionally. My chances for this weekend, hoping for a nice second place. I feel Tuffers might do quite well here, but I'm also hoping for some rain. The rain will spice things up a bit, and we haven't had a wet race in a while.
Ollie, are you going to be around on Sunday for the race?
No, I'm working again, but I've got 2 Sundays off in a row after that, so I should be at Hockenheim and whatever the next one is.
Yeah. I reckon you're just playing World of Tanks. Silence says it all. How about you, Stephen?
I don't like the new layout. I'm a purist. I prefer the old track. This new one annoys me.
Boring.
And the new one is boring.
Is it too much to concentrate on with all those corners?
No, it just doesn't inspire me. It's just having driven the countless laps of old F1 games time and time and time again. I liked the original Silverstone track. Well, I say the original Silverstone track, the Silverstone track from the 2000s. I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it flowed, and the extra sort of bolt-on, as it were, I really don't feel adds anything to it. It was almost like oh dear, Bernie wants to get rid of us. We need to do something a little different. I know. Let's put a building with a couple of angles on it and add a few corners. Yes, that'll get the contract in. Fantastic. And that's kind of my thought and feeling around Silverstone. It also frustrates me. I get lost sometimes. There's 2 start-finish straights, and I forget which corners are which. Probably put that down to old age.
If you weren't going to say it, I was.
But I thought I'd better get in there quick. So where do I think I'll finish? Well, if Ollie's not there, that's at least 15th that I'll get. So we'll go with 15th.
14th.
Who else isn't racing?
Gaza.
Oh, yeah. So that's even better. It's all turning up Steve now, isn't it? P14. Booyah.
Happy days. One thing about the Silverstone track on F1 2012, which is the game we're playing, the tyre compounds are spread out. So where normally the compounds are right next to each other, so it's super soft and soft, or soft and medium, or medium and hard. We have soft and the hard compound tyre, and they have such a massive performance longevity life. It makes tyre strategy quite difficult. Anyone want to chip in with that? No? Well, all right then. Thanks. I'm trying to make this interesting, but if you don't want to, that's fine.
Can you repeat the question? I didn't have my headset on.
No, I'm not repeating the question.
He said because...
No, we're not. No, that's it now. You've peed me off. Right.
I think the tyres will work absolutely fine. I know what I'm doing. I will be fine. They're fast. I'm slow.
don't need a Raikkonen from you. Go away. I come here.
I know what I'm doing.
I come here and I prepare stats, and they get chucked in my face.
That's about you. I should be 4th. Give me 4th place. Let's start GP1 from Spain.
And then I try and raise interesting topics, and no one wants to say anything about it. Why am I here?
Dave, I love you.
Right, so it's time to end the podcast. We have a few things to mention first. I think X-Crim's got something. Go on.
All right. I'll be live streaming the Silverstone GP3 race as well. So I'll post a link in the Warrior Nation WNX League section, and also have a link on my YouTube channel for youtube.com/Xcrim. There'll be a HD live stream. Hopefully, I can get some good gameplay for all my thousands of viewers. 5.
Yep. Well, it's a good service you're putting on, and it actually means that people who aren't in the league can actually go and watch some of the racing, which is really good. So if you want to do that, then go to the channel that he said. I don't know what it's called. We have Twitter. So if you have Twitter, or even if you don't have Twitter, you should get Twitter and then follow us on Twitter, and don't follow anyone else, just us.
Apart from Stop Drop Gaming.
Apart from Stop Drop Gaming. So the Twitter is at WNX F1 League, or if you just search for Warrior Nation F1, you'll be able to find us pretty easily. And Master Babybel, one of our drivers, does a very good job of keeping that updated and keeps sending out tweets. It's a very active account. So if you want to tweet us, you can tweet us, and it's probably the best place to contact us if you want to be involved with the league, the racing league. So if you find us on Twitter, that is the best way to get involved. If you want to check out the forum as well, it's www.warriornation.net, and then you look in console section for F1 League, and you'll find us there. So that is time to end the podcast now, and so I'll leave my guests to say goodbye.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I'll say goodbye on Steve's behalf because I kicked him.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Off air, Steve badmouth stop drop gaming, so he kicked him. Vindictive you are, aren't you?
Just a little bit.
Well, before he kicks anyone else, we will say goodbye. See you later.
Goodbye.